Social media presence has become such a defining part of modern life that when someone chooses not to participate, it's almost shocking. But here's what fascinates me. Research shows that about 40% of social media users are actually lurkers who rarely or never post. That's such an interesting observation. These digital wallflowers are like modern day sociological case studies, aren't they?
And what makes it even more compelling is the research from the University of Pennsylvania showing that most people post content when they feel it defines their identity. These social media ghosts are basically rejecting that entire premise.
You know what really strikes me about this? We're living in an era where digital presence has become almost synonymous with existence itself.
Exactly right. And here's where it gets really interesting. A University of Rochester study found that teenagers who receive fewer likes than their peers experience higher levels of depression and anxiety. It's like we've created this massive social experiment without fully understanding the consequences.
That finding really makes you wonder if these ghost users have somehow figured out something the rest of us haven't yet.
Well, here's the thing. Another study had people completely abstain from social media for 2 weeks. The results were fascinating. Less anxiety and depression, but, and this is key, increased loneliness.
So it's like choosing between digital stress and social connection. That's quite a trade-off.
Let me paint you a picture that really illustrates this phenomenon. Imagine someone who's absolutely crushing it in their professional life, hosting dinner parties, mentoring colleagues, traveling the world, but they just don't post about any of it.
That's such a powerful example because it challenges everything we assume about success and visibility in the digital age.
And get this? Research shows that people who don't post understand 3 fundamental things. They don't need to show off, they don't need to perform, and they don't need to surrender their narrative to others.
Well, that's fascinating because it suggests there might be real strategy behind what looks like absence. They're not necessarily disconnected, they're just being incredibly selective.
You know what's really mind-bending about this? Recent meta-analyses show that the relationship between social media use and overall well-being is actually quite small. Being highly visible online doesn't automatically translate to greater happiness.
That really turns conventional wisdom on its head, doesn't it? How do you think this affects the way we view success and satisfaction in life?
Well, in social media marketing, there's this concept of post less, but post better. Maybe these ghost users are applying that principle to their personal lives, being intentional rather than just filling space.
That's such an interesting parallel. Like they're treating their personal brand with the same strategic thinking as major corporations.
And here's what really gets me. In an attention economy, these ghost users are essentially saying, I don't need to validate my existence through likes and shares. That's actually a pretty radical stance.
The way you put that makes me think about how algorithms reward activity. When you don't post, you become less visible in the digital space.
Exactly. And it raises this fascinating question. Are these social media ghosts actually the most emotionally grounded people in the digital space, or are they the most disconnected? The research suggests it's not a simple either-or situation.
That's really interesting because it suggests their silence might actually be a form of communication in itself.
And here's something else to consider. When these ghost users do occasionally post something, it often carries more weight precisely because it's rare. They're not just adding to the noise.
So in a way, they're mastering the art of digital scarcity in an age of content abundance.
You know what this all comes down to? It's about understanding that your worth exists independently of your digital footprint. You don't need likes and shares to validate your experiences or your existence.
That's such a powerful message for anyone struggling with social media pressure today.
And maybe that's the most valuable lesson we can learn from these social media ghosts. They're showing us there's more than one way to exist in our hyper-connected world. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is choosing when and how to participate at all.